Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're going to be following on from the last episode where we had all the main frame parts machined. On this one, Sam's going to be showing us how he assembles them and welds them together. Let's take a look. These are all been washed now and cleaned up, so this is ready to be tacked on now. Matthew's already machined the angle for me, so he's made it easy. So all I've got to do now is make sure that it's in the middle using these V blocks, and then that can be tacked on ready to weld. So this is tacked up now, ready to weld. Tacked it in these four corners. Now what I'll be doing is, I'll be preheating it, welding it, and obviously like the last video, once I've preheated it, it'll start to cool down once I'm welding it. So I'll have to stop after one run of weld, preheat it again, and go to the next. So let's get that welded up now. So this has just been welded up now. It's still really hot as I've just finished. For the headstock now, it's going to be going back on the machine to be bored out in case of any heat distortion or anything that might have happened. Then it'll give a nice fit for the then it'll give a nice fit for the head cup. But for me now, I'm going to be welding the back of the frame. Okay, so we are super busy. All the machines in this area are all set up and running. Making race team parts, super busy with that at the moment, ready for the upcoming British Superbike season. And obviously World Superbikes is underway at the minute, so lots of parts to be made for all the race teams. But in the meantime, Sam has got our frame now set up on the jig. So this is the jig that we made specifically for this frame. This jig was actually put in the CNC mill, and all of these holes, pockets, slots, all these location points were all milled out, making it a lot more accurate. So we know everything's super square and all the holes are true. So you can see it picks up this linkage mount here, and on the pivot this helps us with the orientation, getting that correct. So when we first designed the chassis, or a new chassis, we actually do it on a different jig. Like I say, this one's specifically for this frame. It's a little bit easy to use, not as much stuff on it, not as heavy as our normal jig. So it means Sam can spin it round to weld it. He can mount it on like an engine stand, spin it round if he wants to, so he can get in everywhere to weld. I'll cut now to the jig that we use when we first design a frame, or the one we use to make a one-off frame. This is the chassis jig we use for one-off frames or when we're designing a brand new frame. So whereas the other jig that we've just seen has a fixed headstock, the pivot's fixed, all the geometry's fixed, just ready specifically for that frame, on this jig we can make some alterations. So the headstock, we can move it up and down, we can steepen it, we can rake it out. If you haven't got a frame to jig off, we can put the engine in here, make an engine cradle, the engine can sit there, the headstock can go on, and you can start from a blank sheet of paper and make everything in between. We can move the pivot up and down, forward and backward. We can make loads of little jigs and fixtures for pickup points. Have suspension mounts bolting off here to pick things up. So this is a lot more universal jig. This is the one we use when we're doing a one-off, or we're first creating a frame and we want to do some geometry changes. Okay, back to the chassis. We have the back part of the chassis all socketed together now. Headstock's on the jig. What's next, Sam, for this now?
So now I'm going to be putting this shot pickup point onto the jig, and then I can get the orientation right on the frame. Then I'll be doing the side rails, making sure the location fits perfect on either side, and then once that is done I will be welding it up.
Sweet. Went together actually really good, didn't it?
Yeah, the slots were perfect.
Nearly a press fit in these location parts here. So there's little stubs like you've seen on the last video coming out of here, and these locate into this, so it all presses together. Fits really nice. Looks good when it's all together as well. Super trick. We bored the headstock out, so any distortion from the heat from the welding, it gets bored out so it's perfectly true. We do that on the 5-axis, mount it back in on a jig. Check out some of the welds on that.
Let's get it welded up. So I'm probably about halfway through now. Been welding this for probably about an hour now, and that's because it's billet. It needs to have a lot of heat into it. So I'm just going to do the next half now, just round here, and the inside here, and then that should be all good.
Okay, so while Sam welds the frame up, we are going to machine these parts for the subframe. So these parts actually bolt on the inside here and here. So we're going to get them set up on the machine now, and then there ain't a lot more machining to do. I've already machined all these gussets, all the front gussets, all the engine mounts, oil cooler mounts, down rail ends. So just this subframe to go really, I think, billet wise, for the frame. So let's get it set up on the machine and get cutting. Blocks all set up in the machine, ready to go. Program's loaded in. We're just doing a simulation at the minute. Let's see if I can show you on here. Actually doing a full simulation. I can see exactly where the tool is there. Shows everything, shows the stock, shows the material removal. So that's what it's going to look like at around 4 hours in. So it's quite a big piece hanging off. So here are some parts that I've been machining while Sam's been assembling the frame. This is a front engine mount. This gets welded to the down rail. See all that 3D work? Everything's on a different angle. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but pretty complicated little bracket really for something so small, just to pick up the front of the engine. Frame gusset that sits in where the pivot comes down and the main frame spar comes across to join it. Front gusset, really nice piece that. So the down rail bolts to here. This is a little cutout. If you notice, this cutout is actually on an angle, so where it sits in the frame, like on that sort of angle, this cutout is actually straight to that. So it means your throttle cables or your wiring can go through there, and it flows through really nice, just perfectly when that's welded onto the frame. And then middle engine mount, another really nice little bracket that gets welded onto the down rail. Scallops out there, just trying to get as much weight out of everything as possible, but keeping it as strong as possible. So I'll get the other side pieces to these, all prepped, cleaned, ready for welding. Once Sam's finished up with that main frame, I can give him all these brackets and gussets, and he can get on with assembling and welding these up. So I want to show you how we bend the frame rails. Sam actually bent a batch of them up previously, so we already had this one bent up, but we use this press and we put this jig onto the press and this onto the ram of the press. So this piece presses down into here and puts this curve. So we can change this radius. We machined this up. We can machine different radiuses up, even different shapes, to press pieces of aluminium out. But for the frame rails, for this chassis, this is the radius we use. So this gets bolted together, extrusion in the middle, comes down, puts a really nice smooth curve in there. I'll show you from the top. Bends it really, really nice. So this actually starts as 3 extrusions, so it's a triple hollow. For this chassis, for styling cues, we actually machine the bottom piece off to just make it a double, but it bends really, really good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be putting that piece into the milling machine, putting a V shape in there for the billet part of the frame, and then that can get tacked in. So we've got the main frame spar on a milling machine now. We're about to put the V in, so it locates into the back part of the frame. So we've got it set up on the correct angle. We'll come in and put the V in, and it'll fit perfectly to the back part.
So I got the back of the frame done. That's all welded up now. Just going to take you over to the welding bench so you can have a look at all the welds. I think it's turned out really nice. The amount of heat you've got to get into these billet parts, a lot of preheat into it. At the minute I'm using a number 7 cup on the torch with a 2.4 welding tungsten. Makes it a lot easier to weld on the billet, gets a lot of gas coverage. For me now, I'll be welding, putting this back on the jig, getting the frame rails on, getting them all scotched up, tack it on the jig, and then that can be welded up on the jig.
So we're going to wrap it up for this video. Now that the back part of the frame's all welded up, headstock's all welded up, frame rails are all machined, bent, cleaned up, ready for welding on. So be sure to watch the next episode where the frame rails will be getting welded in, the down rails will be getting made, all the rest of the billet gussets will be getting put on, Sam will be assembling all those up, and the main frame will get completed. But for now, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe and leave us a comment, follow us on our socials, and we'll see you at the next one.
See you at the next one.